Me do my intro.
No, yeah, do your intro. Do this with me.
Good evening. Welcome to Moments of Murder. I am Mimi, and this is my cousin.
Jessica.
And this evening, I wanted to discuss with you all depression, and not just any form of depression, but postpartum depression in particular. And this weekend is dedicated for mothers, and it's a topic that needs to be discussed because things tend to get out of hand, or things are overlooked at times where you're not aware of what somebody may be going through, right? So
Well, there's no book on parenting or how motherhood's going to be. And my experience is not going to be the same as your experience on
that's
what
true.
to expect. Some people, for them, it's overwhelming. Other people is like, oh, well, I raised my brothers and sisters, or, I often babysat. Maybe it's a little bit similar, but I actually have to be responsible for this whole human being.
For their life.
Not just 18 years, forever. Because they still going to call you.
Right.
They still going to be like, Mom, can you help me with this? Have you experienced this? What about this in this situation? Or they're not going to listen to you and only listen to their friends. It's all different
Aspects.
Yeah.
And
every age is different.
angles.
I'm not going to say it's better. It's different. When they get more independent and feel like they don't need you, it's different. But that new baby, 24 hours a day. You on daytime.
Yeah, hands on with that for sure. So let's jump in with the first case or discussion at hand regarding issues from a postpartum, or maybe not a postpartum situation.
Right. We're going to talk about young Lindsay Clancy from Massachusetts. I don't know if you guys are already aware of this story because it is a year old, but they're still going to court for this case. She was a young mother of 3 kids. She ended up strangling her children and then jumped out the window, leaving her paralyzed. She was diagnosed with postpartum depression, and it is said to be that she was overly medicated. But on the day of the murder, she took her daughter to the doctor. They didn't notice anything erratic or her being groggy or acting out of character, overexcited, or anything like that. And she was getting overwhelmed leaving the doctor. Called her husband, was like, hey, babe, can you get some takeout? And he was like, fine, we'll meet back at the house. But that bought her some time to go home and strangle her children with exercise bands. She had a 5-year-old daughter, Cora, 3-year-old son, Dawson, and a 7-month-old son, Kaylin. So she's charged with 2 counts of murder, 3 of assault and battery, and she was committed to a mental hospital. She's still in a mental hospital right now, so she wasn't able to show up to court. But she's definitely in a wheelchair. So I don't know if her jumping out the window, she was hoping to not be here anymore, but she just didn't want to deal with it anymore. And I'm thinking maybe the last baby, you go from 2 to 3 kids. He's an infant. You have 2 kids under 5. Maybe both of them aren't in school.
Man, because I had it. And they used to drive me crazy, but not to that point. I probably yell and make them lay down and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, she had a husband, but we don't know how helpful he was. But he's saying that she planned this out. It was premeditated. She knew how much time she had. When he came home, he saw her bloody outside on the ground. I'm not sure. I'm assuming, because they didn't really give a lot of information for this case, that it was a 2-story home. He just saw her not being able to get up and greet him and bloody. And he kept saying, where's the kids? Where's the kids? And he goes in and they're all not moving. So he calls 911. The 5-year-old and the 3-year-old died that day in the hospital. The 7-month-old lived for 2 more days and succumbed to his injuries later.
so do you think, because I heard about Miss Clancy as well, right? Mm-hmm. And she worked at the hospital.
Right.
And I'm not sure what her role was at the hospital per se.
No, it didn't really give much information.
But you're 32,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you know that she was a little young though. You know, when she had her children, she was in her mid 20s when she had her first one. Cause
Yeah, the oldest one's 5.
5, right? And the youngest is 7. They're all 3 babies under the age of 5. Pop, pop, pop.
Mm.
You know, stair steps. So I can only imagine, right? Let's say if she was suffering from postpartum depression, right?
Right.
Let's say she was. Let's say even if she had her husband there, like you said, right? We don't know how much assistance she may or may not have from
Right.
him, right? That can drive a woman to her wits end. Trust me, I've been there, but
Mhm.
not to the point where I want to
Right.
take my children's life.
Her husband didn't seem like he was supportive though, because he said that she was emotional and suicidal. So he saw signs.
Right.
He
So
got her
how
to get
can
on
he-
medication.
So how can he make the statement that she did this with intent?
Because he's saying when you strangle somebody, you have time. It takes an X amount of time for you to strangle somebody until they're not alive.
Have you
anymore.
ever used you said it was a workout
exercise band?
right,
You know
right,
those
right,
rubber?
right, right.
Yeah.
Those are very, you ain't gotta pull too hard,
Yeah.
right?
And these are little kids. So.
And these are children. So yes, she may have had maybe about 30 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds, maybe somewhere around there, but that's really not a lot of time.
Mhm.
And what may have happened during that time when she asked you to get takeout into the time that she snapped and kind of lost it, nobody knows.
But my thing, this is 3 kids. When do you say, okay, this one, oh dang, this is really happening. This is real. Then the second one, then the third one.
I mean, as soon as the baby come out your pussy, it should be like, this is real.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Like it should register with, as soon as they be like, and you hear that one, and that baby is.
I'm not saying as far as them being born. I'm talking about when she's actually performing the act of killing them, of strangling them. At what point?
I can't even put myself in that mind space. Like, too little, too late. That's a gift that you were taking away. I look at children in a whole different light.
Right.
I look at children in a whole different light.
They didn't ask to be here.
Not at all.
They're blessings, of course.
They didn't ask for it. They didn't ask for you to be a trick ass mama, whatever kind of mama you are to your child, for you to take their life or place them in a harmful situation. That's not an act of a mother. That's something else. That's something else. I don't.
But I kind of low key agree with the dad, the husband, because she's already on meds. She's in the medical field. She's thinking about how to play this off.
Right. She could have very well set that shit up and jumped out the window thinking that she would have fucked herself up to the point where she may have been comatose to where she couldn't speak. She was, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Put on life support or some shit.
Maybe she's thinking she doesn't have to go to jail because she's going to be having all these medical issues. It's not going to allow her to be in general population. She could be in a pill module.
Right.
She could be in jail, but in a hospital.
Because they're definitely going to do, and I'm probably sure they have done, because this case is being tried right now, right?
Right. It's still not done.
I'm
and
pretty
this is
sure
a year and some change later.
They're going deep into her character to see if there was any instances of her wilding out, flipping out, or having emotional distressing moments where she couldn't handle herself prior to her having children because she was what, 27.
When she first started, yeah.
Right, she was 27 when she had her first child. So I mean, it could be very overwhelming being a young mother, but I don't think she was that young, honestly. I know people that had children before the age of
Right.
27 that handled the pressures and had more than just
But maybe it's
three.
just really not what she expected. And then they're so close together. By the time she's realizing, oh, maybe I can't do this, it's too late. They're already here.
That's why you need activities for kids. You need to be able to talk to your kids or be animated with your kids, entertain your kids, figure out ways to, even especially when they 5 and under.
They need to bring that baby back in the high schools that cry and all that.
Yeah, that
Not
teach you how to be a parent.
Not the potato sack, nothing like that. Not the flower, the one that cries all through the night. It could kind of prepare you.
Breakfast, and because they're 5, the 5-year-old should have been in TK. The 5-year-old shouldn't even been at home. Well, it happened in
they
the
said
evening.
dinner. Yeah, get dinner.
So let me, even at dinner time, they should be in their rooms playing, being kids, or even having given them their bath so that when dad comes home, one thing they have to do is eat and go to bed. So, like I said earlier, whatever snap occurred for her, or whatever opportune moment arrived for her to seize that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the husband feels like she planned it, he knows something that nobody else knows. He's seen something, or maybe they had a discussion and she was like, I don't want these fucking kids no more. Because, hey, believe it or not, women walk away. Women walk away from them.
It's not talked about as much.
Right. Women walk away. There are a lot of single fathers out there. I know some personally. Women walk away, and salute to the fathers that handle their shit and stick down for their kids, because a lot of men don't. I'm not gonna knock men who do their job as a father. I'm not gonna knock women who do their job as a mother. But the ones that don't, I'm gonna talk shit about you. Because you didn't have to do that. You could have gave that child up, gave it to somebody who wanted a child that couldn't have a child. How about that? Gave that child a different life.
It's a different situation. We could write the book 100 ways. Do you think it was premeditated? I say yeah.
From what I read, yeah. Just the fact that I don't care what your position is in the hospital, but you're fully aware of CPR, resuscitation methods. You know what to do. Even if you did, I do believe it was premeditated.
She knows she had X amount of time. She knew how much time. Maybe this started before her husband even got off of work. He still had to go pick it up. We don't know.
Oh, and maybe she threw him off with picking up the dinner.
Right.
Ooh,
that's what I'm saying.
Ooh.
Like, instead of me having to cook, this is gonna give me, and she don't want that Chinese food that's down the street. She want the one in the next town over. So she's like, all right, I got an hour.
She was very specific with that meal. Like, okay.
That's why he was saying, like, I feel what he's saying, but we don't know. We can't ask her if she's still here, but she won't. She doesn't want to be seen in court. She doesn't want to show up. She's having her lawyer speak for her.
That remind me of the mama with the purse who don't want to talk about it no more.
So, or maybe they know she'll ask other questions that's going to incriminate herself.
Of course, they're going to ask questions. You are already incriminated. Of course, they're going to dig deeper. They're going to want to know why you killed your children. They're going to want to know. They're going to want to understand your motives for taking their lives. These are children.
Mm-hmm.
What did they do to you so bad as a mom? What did they do to you so bad? What did they see, mom? What did they hear? You know what I mean? Like, what occurred so detrimental for you to kill a 5-year-old?
I'm thinking she didn't have the right support system either, because you don't hear from any grandparents. We don't know how far away her family lived. I'm not saying she was right, you know what I mean? But she probably didn't really have her brakes on her mind. She's thinking there's no other way. I'm trying to dig. I know, but
You know, that's what they got daycares for. That's what they got nannies for. I got a cousin. She comes highly recommended. I can recommend her to anyone. Um, they have a lot of options. There's the YMCA. Well, not for that young. They were too young for the Y, but there are
yeah, they
options
got
to help
CDC at
you
colleges. They got CDC
with.
at elementary schools. They even start calling you once your child gets 18 months. Like, hey, we have this program. Bop, bop, bop.
You know what? I think any and every new parent, especially nowadays, all these little teeny boppers that be bopping and thopping, they all need to take parenting classes. As soon as they find out they expecting man and girl, they need to take parenting classes.
It needs to be a lot of stuff done. I feel like it should be a DNA at the hospital.
Oh,
Parenting
automatic.
classes.
Automatic. DNA should be automatic.
It's a whole bunch of different stuff.
It should be automatic. That should be automatic.
So,
Fucking psych evaluation should be automatic before becoming a parent. Because you never know.
the police and different entities, CPS, they don't take things serious until something actually happens.
Didn't we say that last week?
Yes, and
Something has to happen.
I'll say it every week because you can't throw a piece of paper at anybody.
It ain't gonna do nothing but give them a paper cut. They ain't gonna feel that shit
Yep,
until they go to cook something.
paper trail.
Speaking of a paper trail, I'm gonna converge to my story because we could talk about shitless ass mothers and shitless ass fathers all day. But what about a shitless? I'm not gonna say a shitless, but because we don't know the mental state of this young woman. But what about a child? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Killing the parent. So there's a case in New York, out the Bronx, on March 25th of this year.
Get New York.
Yeah, it's the Bronx. Talking
Boogie
about
down.
Timberlands, Puff
It's cold
Daddy,
outside. Cold outside.
Talking about my man's in there. A young woman by the name of Skydasia Patterson.
I'm glad you could say it.
I tried,
You're good with that.
But I got a name like that, so I understand. I'll be here with them people up here. She's 26. Basketball superstar. Was she could have been in the WNBA. No lie, she was great. She was great. Had a beautiful life.
Going to college, scholarship.
Yeah, going to college. Balling. She was named Player of the Year at one point.
MVP.
Yeah, she was interviewed on TV quite a few dozen times. She was doing her thing. I salute her for that. She made her mother very proud growing up. And on March 25th, Miss Patterson makes a phone call to the police, 911, stating, "I killed my mom."
Oh, she admitted it on record because they play those 911 tapes.
Played it back. Yeah.
Because they're trying to get the whole picture.
So she clearly, realized after the fact that she did something that she could not take back. So this call brings the police to, a horrific scene. Upon arrival, they find Miss Salima McLean, 46 years old, unresponsive, um, you know, not breathing, having a hard time.
Also, she was still alive by the time the
No, no,
police.
no, no, no,
Oh,
no. She was pronounced dead on scene.
oh, okay.
She was unresponsive all the way, not breathing, nothing. Um, her daughter Skydasia was still holding the murder weapon, where there was a, a pot, a skillet. This young lady
She made the phone call and waited for the police to get there and still had everything.
still had it in her hand, covered in blood. She beat her mother.
Did she say why?
So here's the crazy part, right? They were away right before this took place. They had went to Connecticut to visit Miss McLean's, one of her three daughters. Skydasia is the youngest, I assume,
Okay.
of the three, because she's the only one that still resided at home in the flat with her mom. Well, they had just went to Connecticut with other family members. It was like a little family trip or whatever. And upon returning and they get home, McLean is texting her goddaughter, Danaea Reynolds, who is also 26, stating that McLean was afraid for her life. Like, she was scared that
Of her daughter?
Skydasia was coming at her, threatening her, speaking in a man's voice, being very not herself.
Right. Like maybe almost like multiple personalities. Or
Multiple personalities, some
schizophrenic.
would say possession,
Mhm.
just out of sorts, right? Now, this woman is in fear of her life at this point. The goddaughter has all these texts. She's talked about it in the press. She spoke about it with the police.
Oh.
Like, but the goddaughter is actually trying to help her god sister.
Mm.
And here's why. This young lady, Miss Patterson, gave birth to a baby boy around late August, early September of last year, who was stillborn.
Oh.
And they have said, family members have stated that since this incident occurred, Miss Patterson has been having mental health issues. Now, to kind of support what the mom was texting to the goddaughter,
Mm-hmm.
there have been records of maybe two or three instances prior to this,
Right.
where police have been called
To de-escalate the situation.
to de-escalate the situation at the home, where Patterson was the aggressor and her mother was the victim.
So they have record of it happening.
Right, they have
before,
record of it happening a couple times before one of these
but
times.
nothing to where it would like commit her to a 5150 or anything like that.
No. However, Miss Patterson just called on herself for help. Recently, she was in treatment for about 3 weeks. She was released sometime in February, but she kept having, from the accounts that I read in articles, was the young lady was hearing voices from her family. Like, her family kept stating that she was having voices. There was an instance she was out with her god sister and another sister and some friends, and she was acting odd. Like, there's actual instances of this young lady, witnesses stating that she was acting beside herself, like not herself.
And they're keeping her for 3 weeks, but that's not long enough
That's
for
not long
medication
enough.
to get into
That's
your
not
system.
that's not even long enough for observation.
Right.
That's not long enough to see what triggers a person, how they act in certain environments.
What their triggers are, traumas, to get
Because
therapy.
everyone is different.
Because you need therapy and a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Because your psychiatrist doesn't care what your issues are. They just want to say, okay, how are you feeling? Here's this and this and this. Your therapist is for you to unload everything and start unpacking those traumas and get that off your chest.
Right.
So you can see how to deal with it and move forward. Or give you coping mechanisms.
Yes, the mom was a single mother of 3 daughters, and it's tragic to me because you could look at this case multiple ways. In my eyes, it's really two, but I feel like other people could draw different scenarios from this as well. You could look at it from a religious standpoint, and then you can also look at it from a mental health standpoint, in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying that because there are occurrences where they see her acting different than what everyone knows her to be. And not just that, but she's speaking in a man's voice. The mother is texting the goddaughter shortly before she's murdered by her daughter.
So they texting because she don't want her to know that she's on the phone or reaching out to anybody.
Right, like, I'm scared. She's speaking to me in a man's voice, threatening me.
So why wouldn't the goddaughter call somebody?
I have no idea.
I know she probably like, I don't want to put this on her, but she probably feels like
no, she feels
guilty
she feels
or sad
horrible at this point. It
could have saved her life.
So let's just say this young lady was possessed, right? Like, everybody know The Exorcist and all those movies, you know what I'm saying? Emily Rose
all
and all that
you don't want to watch before you go to sleep because you can't go to sleep after that.
The movies you gotta be like that about.
Sleep with one eye open.
Let's just say this young lady was possessed. She had a demon inside of her because she was hearing voices that kept telling her that her mother was against her, her mother was her enemy, that she needed to get rid of her mother. Like, she was hearing these kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody to bring life. Okay, just in case some people don't understand the dynamic of giving birth, a woman is on the cusp of death. She's knocking at death's door as she's pushing this child through her body.
That's what it feels like.
No, real shit.
Yeah.
That is the closest a woman can get to death without dying. So from a religious standpoint or from a spiritual standpoint, because we do live in a world where it's run by principalities, ain't no telling what came upon that young lady in that instance.
Right.
There's no telling, because whatever it was, it festered, and it was trying to come forth through her. Just by them saying the different accounts.
So is she in a mental hospital or is she in jail?
She's currently in jail. I feel horrible because by all accounts, Miss McLean was a sweetheart. They were a quiet family, but she was a very supportive mother. Went to all of Skydacia's basketball games, any performances, like right there,
right.
Graduations, everything. She was right on the money, like one of those.
It says, do we know if she was having mental issues right before the baby came, or was there a buildup?
So they've only mentioned after the baby that she was acting out of character and, not herself. And as someone who experienced postpartum depression, I can tell you that shit ain't fun. But everybody handles that shit differently.
But she actually lost her child.
I actually lost mine.
No,
too.
I know. I'm not saying. No, I didn't know. I know. I didn't know if you want to talk about that here, but I'm just saying, like, that's something that she probably needed to get help with after.
Yeah. I feel like I needed to get help after, but I kind of, I withheld myself. I withdrew. I kind of hid myself for a while. Didn't want to talk to nobody because in my mind, I kept seeing my son and how I thought his life would have been and how I would have been as a mother. And I just kept seeing that everywhere. So for me, I didn't want to be around nobody. I didn't want to see nobody. I just wanted to. And then it happened again. And I kind of felt the same way. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, I get it.
Right.
I get it. I've been there. But I've never been to the point. Even in my depression, right? I never thought to take my husband's life. I never thought to take my mama's life.
Your kids.
My kids, my nana.
Your friends.
Nobody. I just recluse within myself. And I prayed. Like I know everybody deals with this differently. But I look at it, I don't look at it the way the world looks at it. I look at it from a spiritual standpoint. I really feel that Miss Patterson, and she was reaching out for help. This young lady was trying to get help. I feel like something the system is failing everybody. And we like it's a repeat offender every time that we have these conversations, that is the system that is failing the people.
But is there enough funding? Why are they releasing people? Or do they not want to pay for certain things? Are they only looking for certain criteria?
They want the country to turn into chaos, honestly. They want the country to turn into chaos. They want everything to be dismantled. It's just where it's at.
And they make more money when you're on meds. Let's try this new med. Let's do this med.
How about we get to the root problem of what's causing this? Not medication.
It's food.
Stop feeding people medication. Stop feeding, because apparently if they gave this young lady, Miss Patterson, medication when she was held up for those 3 weeks, it would have still been in her system. Now that's the key point, if she was still taking it after she came back home, right?
But like I said, you still need at least 6 weeks to 2 months,
right,
for you to even change, or to say, hey, this isn't working, I need a new cocktail. Hey, let's try this, let's try that. Nobody has that kind of time. That's why I said they have to have facilities that are keeping people longer to see the trial and error and then release them. Because most people don't want to get the help. She wanted to get the help.
She did. Miss Patterson wanted to get the help, and unfortunately, she didn't get the help that she needed in full, because they did help her for some time, but it wasn't a full treatment. It wasn't a full hands-on.
And then we don't know what she was communicating, what other people were seeing.
Right.
So the mental health has to go even further to see close friends and family and ask about their different behaviors and things. But I don't know about HIPAA laws, and I don't know, how far they can go with that, or if you being a patient, do you want other people talking about your treatment?
Because she is of age, you know what I mean? She's legally an adult. Her mother wouldn't even be able to call and find out information.
Unless she says it's okay.
She puts it right in paperwork that she could speak to my mother regarding such and such and such. So my only downfall with this case, right, are the accounts where she has tried to be an attacker towards her mom previous, right? There's police reports for this.
Did she get arrested before, or
no, they were like cited? You know what I'm saying?
Okay, like,
but there's evidence that has led up to a very tragic murder. Like, you have your mother in fear,
to where she's reaching out to other people.
This is your mother.
Right.
Ain't no way. I love my mama. Even when she get on my motherfucking nerves, I still love her. That's my dog.
Call
That is
mama
my
32 times a
dog.
day. 32
Man,
times
I
a day.
speak to her all the time. Like you have I know it's hard as a woman, especially to have a relationship with your mother because 9 times out of 10, you're just like her.
Right.
You're just like her. No, as hard as you try not to admit that shit, you're just like your mom.
The older you get, the more you see it.
So, love your mama. Don't kill your mama. Love your mama.
Oh my
The fuck? No, some real shit.
I'll always the bomb mama. She's my favorite girl.
You only get one. You only get one. Yeah. She brought me in.
She gonna play
girl.
this.
Hey. No, that's some real shit though. Like, I said this last week too, that but we're in the times. The Bible said we will live in the times where fathers will be against sons, daughters will be against mothers. Man,
Listen.
love yourself. Know that you love yourself. And when you love yourself, you'll love others. It's kind of like a that shit come together.
Remind me of SpongeBob.
No, I can't do it. I don't have the correctness to be spudgy.
He said something, I can't remember, but he did his hand like this. To go watch it.
Gary.
Let's go work.
Check on, your family members that have recently had a child, first child, second child, third child, fourth child. Offer them a little help. Offer to sit with the baby so they could take a nap.
A shower.
That was like one of my greatest things that ever happened to me when I first had my son.
Go to the bathroom by yourself. It's the little
His
things.
great granny came over and she sat there with him, and I just went to sleep and took a nap. That shit was so amazing. It was beautiful. Like that was the best. You
still think about it to the same
time, yeah. Because
and Trey in the double digits.
Yeah, that was a good nap. No, I could remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And pay homage to your elders. People, teach your children to respect their elders. Love your mama. It's her weekend, so they say. So love your mama a little bit more this weekend.
If you ain't got no money, draw a card. We love the cards, okay? We keep those forever.
Make her breakfast if you're nearby. If you live in a different state, wake her up early in the morning. Be like, bitch, you was popping that.
Oh my God.
Don't say that. Don't do nothing like that. But just love your mom a little bit more this weekend,
Tell her one of the secrets that she never knew when you were a kid.
Man, blow her mind. Blow her mind. And she'll be like,
they're like, say word.
You remember when I was little, I did whoop the whoop, whoop the whoop. No, I didn't know that. Well, you know now.
For the same thing. Daddy, y'all just talk to each other. Y'all could have said a lot of times.
You never know. You could bridge a gap that you didn't even know you had. Yeah, happy
Mother's Day,
everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Turn up. Have a good one. Thank you for your time today. This is Mimi and Cub with Moments of Murder.
Peace.
And Awareness Media. Have a good one, y'all.
I'm out. Dun, 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 dun.